Hello?
Your shadow's hanging over me.
Auntie, is this Auntie Gina? Auntie, my mom needs to talk to you. It's very important.
Don't cover me, babe. Don't lay yourself on top of me.
We need help. Mommy, I'll talk to you. Let me see. We need help. Give me this. You can't. I need help. I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. It's okay. I need a lawyer. I need a lawyer.
I presented a question in my community section a couple weeks back. I asked you all how you felt about children receiving life in prison without the possibility of parole. The overwhelming majority believe that it varies from case to case. It matters by how young they were, how heinous was the crime, were they even competent enough to understand right from wrong, and that's the typical answer when dealing with someone young. When a crime happens and someone is young, it's almost like playing Russian roulette. You don't know all the circumstances and details that surrounded that case. Maybe something was off in their head. Maybe they were subject to abuse. I mean, it's a lot of different factors that come into play here. And this case is the epitome of what I'm speaking of. This story begins in Cleveland, Ohio, with a woman going by the name of Brandy Latessa. Now, as fate would have it later on, Latessa would be changed to the last name of Meadows. She would meet a man named Jonathan. They would fall in love, decide to start a family. Brandy and Jonathan would bring into this world a little boy, followed up by 2 girls. Now, by now, they're living in Warren, Ohio. It's a short drive from Cleveland. And in the year of 2016, this family would be living at 914 Hunter Street. Now, 914 Hunter Street, to the people around them, seemed like a normal household. Just normal parents raising a few kids. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. But it was actually far from it. In this household lived a girl named Bresha Meadows, and in the year of 2016, she would be 14 years old. By now at this age, Bresha has ran away from home. Bresha has attempted suicide a few times. Bresha at this point is a troubled young child. You see, the thing is that 914 Hunter Street was far from perfect and looked nothing what the surrounding neighbors thought it was. There was a lot of trouble in that household. There was a lot of secrets in that household. And on July 28th of 2016, those skeletons would come pouring out of the closet when that house would be rocked by a tragedy.
I need an ambulance. Where at? I need something. What's going on there? My daughter, she has mental issues, and she just shot my husband in the fucking head. She shot your husband? In the head. What's her name? Bresha Meadows. I think she's in a room. Ma'am, how old is your daughter? 14.
Hi, Brianna. Okay, it's July 28th, 2016, 7:05 a.m. I'm Detective Griever. Just state your name for me again.
Bresha Meadows.
All right, Brianna, I know you've had a long night so far. How old are you?
19.
What's your date of birth? Alright, why don't you just do me a favor and tell me everything you know, heard, seen, okay? So just start from the beginning and tell me everything, okay?
As of the shooting or just everything?
Whatever you think I need to know.
I was gonna say, as far as the shooting, the only thing I know is I was sleeping and I heard BAP! So I automatically woke up. I didn't know what happened. When I woke up, all I saw was my sister standing in the hallway. I'm like, what happened? And like I just kept calling her name and she just had this blank stare on her face. And I guess she finally like snapped out of it and she woke up or something, and it was like, my mom was like, oh my god, you shot him. I'm like, what happened? And it was like, she shot daddy. I'm like, what? And it was like, I didn't hear nothing else after that. Like,
Okay.
It turns out that Bresha had saw her father laying on the couch sleeping. She retrieved the pistol that he normally keeps under the couch, and she shot him. Due to the circumstances surrounding the case, the prosecutors would in fact seek to charge Bresha with aggravated murder.
Okay, I'm gonna read this in front of your mom, okay? And like I said, you don't have to talk to the police to understand that, all right? You're guaranteed certain rights in this country, and that's one of them, okay? So, but I'm gonna read this to you again when your mom's in here, okay? And you two can make the decision together. How's that? All right?
For the prosecution, this seemed like a slam dunk case. We have a victim who was shot in his sleep, defenseless. So to them, this was a clear-cut case of cold-blooded murder. However, it was far from it. You see, 914 Hunter Street had a lot of skeletons in the closet. There was a lot of abuse in that home. Bresha Meadows alleges that ever since she's gotten with Jonathan, it's been nothing short of a living nightmare. She's been beaten over and over. Fractured ribs, cuts, black eyes. The beatings got so bad that in the year of 2011, Bresha got up and left. She decided that she had had enough of the abuse and she was done with Jonathan. She even stated in a police report that she believed that if Jonathan found her, he would kill her. And maybe even the kids.
This little girl would never did this if she would have been put back in this situation, and Children's Services is to blame. They did nothing to help her.
The heartbroken aunt of a Warren teen charged in the murder of her father. Good evening. I'm Erica Thomas.
And I'm Stan Boney. The shooting death yesterday morning of Jonathan Meadows in Warren may have been the result of ongoing domestic violence, even threats from Meadows to kill his entire family. That may have been what drove his 14-year-old daughter, Bresha, to shoot him in the head.
She'll turn 15 in 2 weeks, and she'll spend her birthday in jail. Today, 27 First News anchor Dave Sess talked to her family in Cleveland about what may have led up to the shooting. It's our top story at 10.
She said, "Now, Mom, you're free."
Chilling words, Sherry Latessa told me, were spoken by a 14-year-old girl in the aftermath of her father's death. Sherry is Bresha Meadows' aunt and the sister of Brandy. She wanted to tell me more of what was happening in their home. Sherry showed me documents detailing domestic violence. First News double-checked and found this 2011 report saying John Meadows threatened to kill Brandy and their 3 children.
Possessive and abusive. He controlled her, and it was like she was in jail.
Sherry also said Bresha had run away before. First News reporter Nadine Grimley found this police report from May after Bresha had been found and told police she lived in fear for her life and that her 2 older brothers went through the same thing growing up.
They've all been through it, and nobody in that county that we called would do anything for those kids. She told on him that you tell the kids to tell, and then what happened? Nobody did anything. She told. She did what she was supposed to do. That this was wrong. She even knew it was wrong what was going on her whole life, and nobody helped her.
There is a murder charge against the child.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous. She, if anything, did it for her mother. She definitely did it for her mother.
Despite the habitual abuse, Brandy would go back to Jonathan, and things wouldn't get any better. They'd only get worse. But on top of Brandy being beaten, Bresha would reveal that she was also being violated. Bresha would explain that at a young age, her and her father were very close. It was a daddy-daughter relationship. She was, in fact, a daddy's girl. But around the age of 8, things would take a turn for the worse. It would be around that age when the touching would begin, and then it would eventually escalate into him taking her innocence. So not only was she watching her mother being beaten nearly to death, but she was also being violated by her own father. Now, on the night that this incident occurred, they do claim that he was in the home, he was drinking, as usual. I mean, they say that this was a normal thing. He was a habitual drinker. He was a drunk. So he beat Brandy and then laid down and went to sleep. I mean, this was a normal thing. Drink, beat his wife, lay down and go to sleep. Well, this night, Bresha decided that I guess she had it and that it was time to protect her family. So she retrieved the pistol that he would keep under the couch. Now, this firearm is under the couch, under the cushion, because like normal drunks do, they hardly ever make it to bed. They crash out right on the couch once they're done drinking. So she retrieves this pistol and then she does the action. Only now, it doesn't seem like murder. It seems more like self-defense. And the prosecutors, they could have dropped the charges, but they don't. They decide to hold Bresha and instead charge her with aggravated murder, even after knowing the circumstances that went on in that household. And even though they do choose to charge her with aggravated murder, they would request that Bresha would be released into the custody of her mother pending the outcome of the trial. Only this request would be denied, and they would decide to hold Bresha inside of juvenile detention. That is until social media gets wind of this case. And when they get wind of this case, it begins to spread, and people begin to fight for her, even spawning a hashtag that would go viral. This would be the beginning of the movement, Pound Free Bresha.
To Bresha, we love you, and we appreciate the strength and the courage that it took for you to do what you had to do. We know that you're not a criminal, and we will never treat you as such. You are our sister, and you did what was right for you and your family. We will always be able to understand that struggle. To the judges and everybody who says that she's a criminal and deserves life in prison, I say to you, how dare you? This resilience that we face, this black beauty that you cannot embrace, it's here to stay.
Lay across the land, I will show you.
Pre-trial hearing this morning, it appears there could, and I say again, could be a deal in the offing to resolve the murder case against 15-year-old Bresha Meadows of Warren.
What's wrong with me?
You have already if I told you, you wouldn't have to worry.
But I didn't mean it. I was just angry.
I am here. Please don't worry about a thing, as I am here.
A young girl who shot dead her abusive father now may face life in prison, sparking national outcry over the treatment of domestic violence survivors. On July 28th, 14-year-old Bresha Meadows allegedly killed her father, Jonathan Meadows, with a bullet to his head as he slept. Only 2 months earlier, Bresha had run away from home, telling relatives she was scared for her life, quote, because her father was beating her mother and threatening to kill the whole family, unquote. Jonathan Meadows' siblings have denied allegations of domestic violence. His brother told Fox 8 News this has nothing to do with abuse. And his sister, Lena Cooper, called his death cold and calculated.
You know, he drank a little bit. He had the ways he did things. But my brother was, I literally say he would have given his life.
This was cold and calculated. My brother was murdered. It was cold and calculated. He was murdered in his sleep.
Now, in the family of Jonathan Meadows' defense, they claimed that this had nothing to do with abuse and something completely different happened here. I'm not going to get into that. That's an entirely different subject. Now, due to the pressure that social media put on the world pertaining to Bresha's case, she would receive a plea deal. She would receive a deal where she would only have to serve 1 year and 1 day in a juvenile detention facility, as well as serving 6 months in a patient mental health facility. She would do the time and she would be released.
Okay, I am with Bresha Meadows and her attorney, Ian Friedman. And Bresha, when she was 14 years old, was in juvenile court. She was charged with killing her father after suffering years of abuse. Bresha, how are you doing now?
I think I'm doing okay.
And what do you want to tell people or other survivors of domestic violence and sexual abuse?
To just continue to speak out and remember it's not the end. Like sometimes you just got to keep pushing until you get to where you need to be.
And how proud are you of your client here?
It's I would say fair to say it's beyond words. I mean, she's a remarkable young lady, and thrilled.
It's been a long road for you. Mm-hmm. What's the future hold for Bresha?
At this moment, I don't know exactly my plan, but I plan to go to school and further my education and either become a lawyer or a domestic violence advocate. And
you have already kind of started out. You were speaking last week. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I spoke at at an event with the Lifted Voices. It's a group in Chicago, and they added me to the group, and I spoke about juveniles in prison. And you are hoping to do more of that? Yeah. Okay. And you are looking at maybe going to college soon? Yeah. Okay. And again, there's people that are already on this Facebook Live. They're saying they're rooting for you, and so you had a lot of support when you were going through this from people. You thankful for that? Yes. And you want to be there for others as well. Yeah, I kind of want to. Now that I have the chance to do it, I want to take that chance. And when you were going through this, you said you did try to speak out, but nobody listened. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that. I ran away. I went to CSB. I didn't go. Like I went and I told them about the abuse in the home, and then I also went to the police station and I told my counselors at Valley Counseling, and never did anything. So that's why you want to be that voice for others. Yeah. And what for others that see this, that are going through something similar, what do you want to tell them? To keep your head up and keep speaking. All right. And we're going to have Bresha's full story with her attorney, Ian Freeman, who has been with her and at her side from the very beginning. How grateful are you for? Extremely, really extremely grateful.
Well, let me say this. I appreciate that. In a way, I'm more grateful that she came into my life, because I get to see where she was, and more importantly today, where she's going. She's going to do great things. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, who comes forward and says, I want to stay here so that I can help other people? And I think Bresha is going to be a great hope and a great symbol for so many. So I'm just grateful to be a part of it, to see who she is today.
I'm glad that Bresha was able to go on and make this a learning experience. And anyone experiencing this out there, take this as a learning experience. You can receive help. Speak out. There's nothing wrong with it. Bresha would go on to attend college. Now, I'm not going to get into her personal business because it seems like she's a private person. So I'm not going to disclose the college or where she lives now, but just know that she's doing okay. Because of Bresha Meadows' case, things are looked at entirely different now, and they don't jump the gun and just charge a minor and try to take their life away without doing extensive research into what's going on in the household or what's going on in their life. She has truly made a difference. It's just truly sad that she had to go through that in order to change her life, but now it's changed for the better. If we were sitting at a round table and I had a glass, I would probably raise it up in order to toast to a better life. But since this is just the internet, I'll just say thank you. Thank you for going through this so others don't have to. You have truly made a difference.
Time is up, we don't have no luxuries. Touch my lip as I breathe for the two of us.